Apple presents Meet the Musician at the Apple Store. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this evening's guest moderator, Nekesa Moody, and tonight's guest, J. Cole.
What's up? How y'all doing? Hey.
Hey.
Hello.
Nekesa Moody. Thanks for being with us, and thank everyone for coming.
Yo, thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for taking time out of shopping, I guess, and for y'all for showing up. Thank you.
Now, you're kind of used to these crowds. A couple days ago, or yesterday when the album was released, there was about a few hundred people waiting to meet you. What's it been like this week, you know, with this album coming out and all the fan anticipation?
Oh, it's been crazy. Even now, like, I'm exhausted, but it's all part of, like, when your album comes out, it's a part of the process. The last night, it was way more, there was so many people out there at the album signing. 5 hours. I was at the album signing albums. So it's like every day, every minute of your day during release week is filled doing something, promoting the album. So it's been but I'm enjoying it way more this time. The first album, it was so new to me. This time, I've been through it, and I'm really just appreciating every person that, like, bought the album. You know what I mean? Like, I just stopped at a random Best Buy in the city. Oh, excuse me, no, we don't buy albums from there. We buy albums from Apple Store and iTunes. But I did just go in because I wanted to get the real value of, like, just getting my album. And I seen this kid who had no, you know, he came in to just get it. And he's looking at me like, yo, what are you doing here? You know, and I'm looking at him like, yo, thank you for buying my album, man. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, can I get a picture? I was like, yeah, you can get it. You just bought my album, man. You can get a picture. Come on. So I'm enjoying it. I say that to say that.
It's cool that you're still so excited about meeting the fans in first week.
Yes.
Because I would imagine the deeper that you get into it, sometimes it's after just like the first album, people are like, okay, well, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do that.
Right. No, I appreciate it, man, because I understand that, like, you know, people don't have to. Without the people, like, I don't exist. Like, I'm making the music, but, like, there has to be somebody to receive it and enjoy it for this thing to happen. You know, it's a two-way street. So I'm not jaded at all, and I'm not, like, of course you have those days where it's like, oh, man, it can get overwhelming, but, you know, I give a lot of my time. People don't even know, like, I give a lot of my time to, like, taking those extra pictures, signing those extra autographs. I appreciate people, so.
What about the fan response that kind of fuels you? What is it about, you know, hearing from people like in the audience that kind of fuels you?
I like it when they connect to a song, or when they tell me things like, yo, man, this song right here changed my life, or yo, I listened to the warm-up, it got me through high school, or it made me go to college, or it got me through college, or I got through my law school by listening to Friday Night Lights, or, like, I like the personal connections when they tell me, like, how a certain song or a certain project affected their life, or why they can relate to this song, or that's what I enjoy. Like, the hit records are fun too. It's like, it's cool to go to, like, a club or to a concert and everybody knows the words. You know, sometimes we do summer jams, and in order to do a summer jam, you have to have radio records. So it's nice to go there and hear people sing the words, but the best feeling is, like, that more intimate connection when, like, you really touch somebody with one of your songs. That's what gives me the most pleasure.
Now, you mentioned iTunes. Obviously, the album's available on iTunes.
Please get that on iTunes. I'm trying to beat Kanye West right now, man. We got to do that. Just
Exactly.
listen, iTunes. Kanye is the first one that you see when you open iTunes right now. I'm the second. I promise you, if you flip that around, I got a shot. So just put me first and watch the numbers just skyrocket in my favor.
Well, from what I've heard, you're neck and neck with Kanye right now. He's a little bit ahead, but, you know, not that much.
Neck and neck.
Neck and neck.
It's not over yet, so please
we got time.
go get that Born Center right now on iTunes. Thank you.
What I think is really interesting is a lot of people, when someone like a Kanye is coming out, they'll say, well, let me move my back to, like, July, or let me just give this person some space. Where you did the opposite. You're just like, okay, bring it, Kanye.
Yeah.
I want to go head-to-head with you.
Come on, Yeezus.
Yes, Yeezus. Yeezus versus Born Center. So tell me what made you kind of feel like, okay, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, first and foremost, like, I'd say all this jokingly because I am, like, a real big Kanye fan. Everybody knows, like, so that aside, I'm also a real big competitor. So I had a date of June 25th already locked in. and I heard he was coming on June 18th while I'm finishing the album. And at first I didn't think much of it, but then when it got confirmed, it got real, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I ain't gonna come a week after a Kanye album and like, you know, it's gonna be all this hoopla and like fanfare, which he's earned and deserve all that. But I didn't want to be in the shadow of that. I didn't want to be the week after. I was like, nah, I'm gonna move mine and join the conversation. Like, put my name in the conversation, listen to mine the same week, and then you decide what you like. You might love both. You might love his, hate mine. You might hate his, love mine. I just want to be in the conversation and let you know that I think my album is great, and you know, you decide.
Now, did Roc Nation share your enthusiasm, or were they a little bit like, okay?
Nah, I only made 3 calls. One was to Jay Brown from Roc Nation. One was to my manager Mark Pitts, and then one was to Jay-Z. I just called these people. Jay Brown was like, yo, I'm feeling like he liked the spirit, the competitive spirit. Mark Pitts saying, they all across the board, everybody was like, yo, like, you got nothing to lose. It's like, it's a ballsy move, and it's like, you know, they were all supportive. Now the label end, the people that actually got to make it happen and get the album to iTunes and tell iTunes, hey, we're moving our date, those people were a little more concerned, like, yo, can we actually make this happen? But you know, everybody was really supportive, and it's here now. It feels good that we finally here.
It kind of reminds me of like a few years ago when 50 and Kanye were in that little battle head-to-head. Kanye won that, and 50 was sort of like the top dog at the time.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me that you are approaching that, you are at that level where people are looking at you as someone who could maybe take on a Kanye, and you're fulfilling your promise. What does it feel like to be at this level with this album?
It does feel good. I do recognize that I got a long way to go, just, you know, just for what I want out of my career. You know, I want a lot of music out and a lot of albums, and I want to fill up arenas one day. So personally, I have a long way to go, but it does feel good that people are saying like, yo, Born Sinner way better than you. It's just like, you know, they just riding for me, and it's cool to even be in that conversation and have that conversation. But like, I have to be grateful that I made that decision and follow my heart, because had I not made that decision, this wouldn't be the conversation right now. You know what I mean? It's like I'm forcing the other people. The fans already feel how they feel about me. I'm forcing the other people that weren't really paying attention to now be like, you know what I mean? Let me take another listen and you know, at least see what this kid is talking about.
Now, this album certainly raises the stakes for you. When the first album came out, a lot of promise, and people have been talking about you for a while.
Yep.
Now, do you kind of feel like you realized everything that you wanted with this album? Because I know that you talked a little bit about your first album. You didn't feel like you hit it as much as you wanted to.
Yeah, I heard the first album. I was doing the album signing yesterday, and they played the first album because they were playing Born Sinner over and over. And then by like the third album, like, yo, my man, come on, like, please change it. So they put on the first album, and I was listening to it, and I was like, my God, like the other album was really good. It's just like two songs in a row that, looking back, I would, you know, if I could have inserted 2 different songs, like, it would have changed the entire album, you know what I mean? So I was like that little spot away, which is not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but to me it's a big deal, you know what I mean? I'm a perfectionist. So that's what I mean when I said the first album, I'm very proud of it, you know what I mean? I'm grateful for it. But this album, you know, I'm completely, I have to go through the whole thing, and like still gets better to me each listen, you know what I'm saying? So I don't even know what the question was, but I wanted to clarify, you know, it's like the first album was not a disappointment for me, but it was definitely a learning lesson, you know what I mean? And yes, it didn't have that, sales-wise, it killed the game, and it changed the industry, but it didn't have that critical acclaim that I wanted, like Friday Night Lights did. That's really what got that, the warm-up and then Friday Night Lights. But I was so focused on the album, my first album, that I couldn't appreciate how big Friday Night Lights was, you know what I mean? Like, that was critically acclaimed, like, that was a wave when it came out. But I was so worried about my album, I couldn't appreciate it and say thank you, you know, for that response.
What kind of pressure did you feel making Born Sinner, it being that in making it you were a Grammy nominee now, you know, had, you know, platinum singles, all that stuff. How did you feel, and how did you feel that affected you producing the music?
I felt no pressure making Born Sinner. That was the whole point. I was, for the first time in years, in a couple years, I was pressureless. I was like 100% free, just making music for the fun of it. Just if I wanted to make a beat that day, I made a beat, and that beat ended up being like Chris Tucker or something. I was just playing around with like lyrics or something, or it'd be Kenny Lofton. It was way more just free, because the first album did so well, and that was one of the things I was so nervous about, was like performing well for the company, Roc Nation, Columbia, my management, the fans. In hip hop, you don't get but so many chances. Like if I would have came out and did like 60,000, it would have been hard to bounce back from that, because hip hop is so competitive. People want to point and be like, look what he did. It's like that. It's bad that it's like that, but it's like that. You know what I mean? So once that pressure was off, everything just flowed out.
I was listening to another interview, and you kind of compared it to like LeBron and his quest to get that first ring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you notice the difference. As soon as LeBron James won the championship, his whole style got he became even more of a monster, because with that monkey off his back, there's nothing to lose. Now he's just playing with full confidence. There's no pressure. He's already a champion. There's a big difference in playing with pressure and then playing with no pressure.
With nothing to lose, then, how did that free you up, and what kind of maybe subjects or things did you tackle that maybe you felt more free to do?
I don't think it was in terms of subject. My subject matter has always been like diverse. I always talked about like a lot of different aspects of life, personal and like things that relate to people. But I think what changed was like just, I wasn't worried about, they hit a section like a 6-month period where like everything became like, because I was trying to get this single, everything became like, is this good enough? Like, is this a hit snare drum? Is this a hit kick? Because I make the beats too from the beginning. So is this a hit kick drum? Is this drum pattern hit worthy? Is this line catchy enough? Is this hook? You know what I mean? That's a terrible way to make music. Like, you shouldn't, if you ever catch yourself as an artist thinking like that, you have to catch yourself and stop, because that's a dangerous way to like make any type of art. So the subject matter wasn't what freed up. It was my thoughts. It was just trusting myself and doing whatever I wanted to do and saying whatever I wanted to say and letting it all flow out.
It's kind of curious. You say don't do that. Don't like try and see, is this catchy enough? But with the pressure, and you talked about it, like people hating and trying to see you fail, the pressure to make those hits, how do you prevent yourself from not saying, oh, is this hook, going to be what's going to be played on Hot 97 tomorrow,
How do you avoid it? Well, I went through it. So I went through it and it made me stronger, but I went through it hopefully so that other people don't have to. Like I'm telling you right now, like you don't have to do that. You just trust yourself. You know what I mean? And you'll naturally grow. I don't know how you avoid it. I went through it out of necessity. Like I couldn't get a release date until I had a record that was connecting that radio. So I had to go through it. I don't know how you avoid it though. I don't know.
Now with this album, did you feel, because you had so much success, that was there any temptation to work with a lot of more different artists and have a lot more features on this? Because you don't necessarily have a whole bunch of features.
No, I don't have a lot of features at all. Or other producers. It's just how it happened. This is how I make music. I start making a beat. I start making some drums. I add a sample. I get excited, like, oh. Hopefully my rapper side kicks in, like, oh man, I want to write to this. I got something to say. And I start writing. And I lay down the ideas, and maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, maybe 3 hours later, I have a song. And that's how this album happened. You know what I mean? I didn't feel the need to go reach out. You gotta understand, I'm where I'm at in my career right now, and I got a long way to go, but I'm blessed to be right here. I'm here, and I never went to go see like Timbaland, Boy Wonder, Hit Boy, whoever was making the hits, whoever, Young Chop, whoever was the hottest producer at the time in hip hop. I never went to go see them. I haven't gone to see them yet because I enjoy making music how I'm doing it, and it's gotten me this far. Now, will I go? Yes. Maybe the next album is entirely me reaching out to other people, but for this album, it's just how it happened. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't like, I ain't gonna go see them. it's just, that's how I enjoy like making music. That's my art. But there is a side of me, the rap side of me, that does enjoy not having to work. Like, it's hard work. My rapper side just sits around and waits for the producer side to finally make a beat that he likes. The rap side is probably like, man, you whack, dog. Like, it's like 10 beats now and I ain't got one. So, you know, I do look forward to that, letting go some of that ownership and just coming to the studio, hearing a beat and writing.
Now, one of the songs that's been a big hit is Power Trip, obviously, with Miguel. Tell me, I had heard that originally you were a little bit kind of wanted to just do it yourself and maybe you weren't as enthusiastic about having Miguel?
Oh, that would have been a terrible idea. That was a bad idea. Originally, I was singing a part on Power Trip that goes, would you believe me if I said I'm in love? Like, and I thought it sounded good. It did sound good. I did it like in a real sleepy, drunk way. Like it was supposed to be like, you know, like I guess love drunk or whatever. So I was singing it real messed up. But I actually considered like, yeah, Miguel would sound great doing that, but I like how I sound. I would have been like, I heard the version maybe about a month ago. I was like, yo, would have been a terrible decision. You know what I mean? So that was a thought at first.
Now, a lot of what critics are saying, they're loving the album, first of all.
Yes.
A lot of praise.
Thank you.
They're saying the album has like a darker tone. Do you kind of, or darker themes to the music? Do you see that?
It has a dark feel in the beginning of the album. And it's not dark like Marilyn Manson dark or like nothing like that, but just musically, the mood of the music in the first half of the album is darker, like from the intro to Land of the Snakes. You know, it's just a dark color, but not like psychotic or like murderous or anything, but just like dark. And even the subject matter is a little more like unapologetic. Like I got a song called Trouble that's like whole nother persona as a rapper. It's like if I really wanted to, I could be that rapper all the time and just take on this persona, like the coolest dude who's also smart. You know what I mean? That's Trouble. And I'm saying like, you know, a few reckless things. It's more like a rapper song. Like, but then you got songs like Runaway, which is dark, but I'm really like diving into a lot of themes of like relationships and temptation, you know, and things like that. So yeah, it's dark, I guess, but I don't want to give the wrong idea, like it's depressing or anything.
What kind of prevents you from just going once? Like you said, you could have been that rapper that says a reckless thing or whatever. What kind of prevents you from just taking that one persona and running with it? Because sometimes there's one tack that you take, and that's the most popular.
Right, because I wouldn't be being true to myself. Like that's only one part of my personality. The reason why I can have a song like Can't Get Enough and then have a song like Lost Ones or Lights Please is because those are all parts of my personality and like my life. You know what I mean? So if I was only one way, like if I was only like making, like if I was a trap rapper, you would think trap rappers don't even like love their mom or like, you know what I mean? Or like ever have friends or like real, because all they talking about like is the trap, which is fine, but like what about, you know, there's other things that happen in life and there's other sides to you. So I'm trying to give you all of that. That's what keeps me from becoming just that rapper. It's because I'm also this guy too, and sometimes I'm like that, and you know, it's just I have more range as a human, so I'm gonna have more range as an artist.
Speaking of more range as a human, with everything you've gone through over the last couple of years, from the Grammys to, you know, the hits and everything like that, what's the biggest change that you see in yourself?
In myself, just throughout my career, like how I've changed personally. I don't know. I would like to think I'm still very close to like my original self. You know what I mean? I would like to think that. Ooh, yes. My voice is gone. I was gonna do it exactly like she just did. I couldn't do it. I would like to think that I'm very close to being how I was. And if there's a change, then I don't, you know what I mean? I don't notice it. I'm not noticing.
Okay. Well, at this time, we want to open it up to people in the audience.
Yes.
First question.
Here they go.
We have.
Everybody got questions.
All right. I wanted to know what inspired your picture of your album.
A picture of my album. Which one? That's the deluxe. Can I tell y'all the real story about the deluxe? So, and it worked out great. Everything happens for a reason. I'm telling you, I truly believe in that. But the original deluxe cover was this baby. Y'all know like Biggie Ready to Die cover? So it was this little baby surrounded by like white, but with like these clouds. Cause you know the darker version of the album is like gates. You could say like maybe the gates of hell. There's like 7 strikes on it. So the deluxe was more like heaven. And this little baby, which is purely innocence, you know, that's what it represented. Innocence was like surrounded by these white clouds, and he had a little crown above him. You know my crown with the halo. It's really a halo with a crown above it. But he also had these little horns coming out, like just subtle horns. So it's like, so the album is Born Sinner. I'm like, yo, this cover's perfect. We're like 2 days from having to turn in the album, the artwork for the album, and it come to find out nobody cleared the baby with the parents. Nobody cleared this little light-skinned baby with his parents. So everybody's looking around each other like, oh man, like we don't know. And of course, when it went time for clearance, the parents was like, nah man, we can't do this. Like, so we took the horns off, kept the halo, now it's just a baby in heaven. And we like, please, but the album's called Born Sinner. A parent wouldn't want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to put, so I was like, yo, I won't even put the title on the album. You know what I mean? It won't be there. I wrote them a crazy nice letter. I'm a letter writer. When people don't see things my way, I like try to give them my perspective. So I wrote this really nice letter and almost convinced them. Almost, but they just couldn't do it at the end of the day. So we're literally about 7 hours from having to turn in an album cover, and we don't have a deluxe. It just so happens, you know, the guy that was doing my artwork for this whole album process, Mario Hugo, he was like, yeah, I was working on this thing, but I was gonna use it for a single later. I mean, maybe you guys like it. He sent that to me. I was like, yo, you crazy? Like, yes. Where was this at before, man? You know what I mean? Got like 5 hours left. So that's how this came to be. And it's really way more iconic, you know what I mean? And like, it really defines the album to me, that figure. Cause like he got these horns, but he got the halo crown above him. He doesn't look evil. He's kind of smiling. You know, he's surrounded by white. You know, you know, don't be afraid. There's nothing like satanic about that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not. So that's how that came to be. Y'all got the exclusive iTunes. Please move mine to the first thing you see on the iTunes page. Thank you.
What up, Jay?
What's up, man?
All right. Does the question have to be about the album?
Nah.
All right. Cool. So basically, I work around the block. I just got fired.
No way you got fired.
But like I met you a couple of times, man, and I'm an artist myself.
Word.
And I know you hear this shit all the time.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
What was going through your mind when everything was just falling apart, and you don't even know like you don't even know what to do, and basically everything was just falling apart, and you just trying to find a way. Like, what was going through your mind? Did you ever think like, damn, what if this doesn't happen for me? You know?
My mind never worked like that in the beginning. Well, like when I wasn't on, I never had those thoughts. But I can't relate to that only because there came a point after my first album was already out where I started like really getting down on myself. Like, man, like I really just dropped the ball, man. Like this didn't go how I wanted it to go. Like I didn't come out how I foresaw myself coming out. And I was really getting down on myself, and it really did feel way more, and everybody else is looking at me like, oh, you crazy? You had the #1 album in the country, you got to go at Grammy nominated, and I'm not seeing or appreciating any of that. So what I can say is you have to stop looking at what you don't have and what's not happening for you and start appreciating like what you do actually have. Like, my man, you got on a nice watch, like your hat is fresh, like you're in New York City, it's the land of opportunity, you know what I mean? You're a good looking guy, I'm sure you got maybe a girlfriend, like there's a lot of things, your family, there's a lot of things to be grateful for, and that's the only way you can climb out of like a place of focusing on what you don't have is by focusing on like, man, what do I have to be thankful for? And everybody got something to be thankful for, even a homeless man. If he wanted to, he could be like, yo, I'm breathing today. Like, you know what I mean? Like my arms work, my legs work. You can start very small, and it's a process, but that's how you can get up out like of a negative space like that. You know what I mean?
I think it's interesting. I gotta ask, what were you expecting for your first album? If you were a little bit disappointed, like people said you were crazy, like what were you expecting?
Yeah, I think I just had my career going a certain way in my mind, and I didn't realize that I was already doing the things that I wanted to do. Like it was just in a different way. So my whole life I was like, oh man, my first album is gonna be like, it's gonna be like Illmatic, it's gonna be crazy, or my first album's gonna be like this, and like I'm gonna drop classics, and I never took the time to stop and realize like, yo, you already are doing that. Like, there's kids out there that to warm up to them, they never gonna stop listening to that. You know what I mean? That's gonna be, they're gonna play that for their kids. They're gonna be talking about that 10, 20 years from now. Friday Night Lights for them, it's a, you know what I mean? And I didn't stop and realize that like, yo, you are already doing that. So, cause I had a certain way that I wanted it to go. You know, so that's what it was.
I wanted to know what was Nas' reaction to Let Nas Down, and who's your top 5 rappers right now?
Oh man, top 5 rappers. Those tough questions. Nas' reaction was crazy. Long story short, I always say long story short, but then it's long. I played Let Nas Down 3 days after I made the song. Oh, it's a long story. I was in the airport 3 days after I made the song. I never run into Nas. I'm in Houston, Texas, of all places. I had a show to do. The next morning, I'm in the airport. It's 6 a.m., a flight from Houston to L.A. My homeboy asked me, could he hear the song? Because I just made it, and we all still buzzing about this song. He hears the song. I take my laptop back from him because I got to board the plane. As he's handing me my laptop, he's like, yo, is that Nas? He just was listening to the song. I just made the song. I only met Nas one time before that. It's not like I run into this guy. We're in Houston, Texas. Like, so many things that the world is way too big for this to be happening. So I knew it was a sign. So I played Nas' song. As soon as I got on the plane, his reaction was ridiculous. It was one of the best moments like of my life. It was just a dope moment. Top 5 rappers, I can't answer that, man. Ever, or right now, I can't.
Okay, let's say right now.
We've done it. Right now?
Let's do right
No, I'm not gonna do that because then they're gonna make a headline out of me. Ever. Pac, Big, Eminem, Jay-Z. Nas, what we talking about, man?
What's up, J. Cole?
What's up? Where we at? Where we at? Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I'm a little short back here. So, like you said earlier, you put a lot of hard work into this album, which shows, which is evident in the album, obviously. And like you said, we as the consumers don't see exactly like what goes on and like what you put into this album.
Right.
What would you say is like the most difficult part? Was it the fact that you guys forgot to get clearance of the little baby, or
No.
was it the fact that the album leaked? What was like the most difficult thing? And sorry if it's a difficult question, but
No, it's a great question. I never thought about what was the most difficult part about making that album. For me, the most difficult part about making an album is finishing. Really, is why do you think people don't even recognize? There's 3 Truly Yours right now, all about 5 songs apiece. That's 15 songs. I really just dropped 2 albums in the last 3 months. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to make like a song like Kenny Lofton could clearly be on the album. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to like pick from songs that I love, like Can I Holler at You? It's hard to like decide what's album worthy and what's not. That's the most difficult part of me for making an album, is like ciphering through all this music that I have and picking and saying that this song that I love is not gonna make the album. That's hard. And then finishing the songs. I got a lot of rough drafts. You know what I mean? And then like it's hard to turn those into finished products. So that's a great question though. Do we got time for one more, man? Please.
My name's Frank, and
What up,
I wanted
Frank?
to ask the question with like all the buzz going between Yeezus versus Born Sinner and all that buzz. I wanted to know, what's your opinion on Yeezus, the album? Because like the general reception is that you came out big. Like with this album, with Friday Night Lights and all your albums, you always like it came out good. And
Right.
with Yeezus, like people say it's not what they depicted what Kanye West would come out with.
Right. Well, that's a great question. I don't think my opinion of his album matters. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. I actually don't like, I'm starting to really not like the process of like people looking to other people for how to feel about music. That's starting to really bother me. Like looking to a review for how I should feel, or looking to what somebody on Twitter says about an album for how I should feel, and the sense of entitlement that what I say about an album is actually important. You know what I mean? I don't like that, so I don't even want to say how I feel about Yeezus, because it doesn't matter. But I will say that I'm a big Kanye West fan, and I do respect him for always never settling and always trying to go left. Whether or not it connects or not doesn't even matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, J. Cole.